59-year-old divorce attorney Michael Fine sentenced to 12 years in prison for hypnotizing 6 female clients without their consent or knowledge and then molesting them. One of Fine's clients noticed that after their appointments, her bra was disheveled and that she could not recall the entire duration of these meetings.
And we are back with newly released video that shows an Ohio divorce lawyer hypnotizing and molesting a female client. He is now behind bars. ABC's Mara Schiavocampo here with the story. Good morning, Mara.
George, good morning. That secretly recorded video showing an unbelievable crime in action. That woman, one of 6 who have since stepped forward, and now we're hearing from another one of this man's hypnosis victims.
This morning, shocking new video of an Ohio divorce attorney hypnotizing a female client so that he could take advantage of her.
Every part of you goes like 1, 2, 3.
Watch as 59-year-old Michael Fine puts the woman into a trance without her knowledge or consent, saying it's just a breathing exercise.
Let's take a deep breath.
But Fine uses his hypnosis to make the woman walk over to the couch where he initiates a sexual encounter.
Your entire body is a vessel of pleasure.
Before awakening her and acting like nothing ever happened.
Okay, so we have some papers to go over.
That's when police bust in and nab him.
Police officers, step over here.
Yes, sir.
The video, part of a 2014 sting operation. The woman alerting authorities after noticing her clothing would be disheveled after their appointments.
The basic law of hypnosis is that you cannot make people do what they don't want to do. However, we can affect the things that you want or that you desire.
And she wasn't the only one.
He ruined a lot of people's lives.
Melissa, who doesn't want to reveal her last name, says she too was hypnotized and molested by Fine.
He'd like to hold your hand. He's right there with you. He's going to protect you. And he was actually the one who was the predator.
Now, Fine is serving 12 years in prison for hypnotizing 6 female clients after pleading guilty to 5 counts of kidnapping and 1 count of attempted kidnapping, all with a sexual motivation specification, and now faces 6 civil lawsuits.
She unfortunately met a very bad lawyer who took advantage of her, who was a predator, who breached her trust.
Now, to add insult to injury, Fine was even billing these women for his services as a lawyer during the time spent hypnotizing and taking advantage of them. He has since been disbarred. Now, as for those civil trials, no date has been set. We did reach out to Fine for comment on the civil suits, but we did not hear back. George?
Boy, the outrages just pile up. Okay, Mara, thanks very much. Let's bring back our legal team. Dan Abrams here, along with senior legal correspondent Sunny Hassan. Sunny, you know, when you first heard about this case, it was horrifying. Seeing the tape makes it so much worse.
It's so much worse. It's heartbreaking, especially as an attorney, because we do know that as attorneys, our clients are people that we protect. Our clients are people that we are sworn to protect. And when you see this sort of violation in the inner sanctum of a lawyer's office, it's just shocking. Dan and I were discussing this before the break. It could be up to 25 women that he did this to. Only 6 he pled guilty to. So this is shocking.
He's pled guilty. He's behind bars. So does he have any chance in these civil suits?
No. He has no chance to actually win the civil suits, right? The question's going to be damages. He's going to lose them, but the question's going to be, what's the number? Is he going to defend them at all? I mean, because when you're talking about a civil lawsuit, you're talking about money damages. And the question's going to be, does he come forward and use the kind of defense that he might have used in a criminal case, which is, well, you know, let's not blow this out of proportion, as you just heard in the piece.
Make somebody do something they don't want to do.
Exactly. And so therefore, you know, what should the damages be? You know, my guess is that he's going to be able to somehow resolve these, file for bankruptcy, and pay, you know, these women a significant amount of money if he has it.
If he has it, that's the thing. Maybe these are just paper judgments. I mean, you have to enforce the judgment. But the other thing that I'm thinking about is, because he pled guilty, what kind of defense does he have? I mean, he already admitted to the behavior.
Yeah, so he's going to be found responsible. The question's just going to be, what is that payout?
And doesn't have any money.
What are the damages?
Insurance companies don't have to pay the money.
Well, there certainly is a legal malpractice angle to this because lawyers aren't supposed to do this kind of thing. And so if he was insured, then perhaps they'll get some sort of money.
Remember,
pockets.
He's got a family too, and I only say that to point out that he's got a wife and kids, and as a result, he may try to fight to protect whatever assets that he has. So that's just.
But can you bring in a new defense that you didn't use before?
Sure, you can try, but again, it's going to be used against him that he's already admitted the conduct. He could then say, though, but with that said, the damages should still be minimal because of X, Y, and Z.
And these damages go way beyond what we saw in that tape, in that room. I mean, we're talking about the intentional infliction of emotional distress. These women are going to have a lot of trouble trusting anyone, especially someone that was supposed to be their
confidant.
Medical
fees, psychologists, there's a lot of expenses.
Clearly, you guys don't think it's going to be a close call.
No, on whether he's responsible, no.
On Tuesday, a former Ohio lawyer was sentenced to 12 years in prison for hypnotizing and sexually abusing women clients. Attorney John Pyle said that Michael Fine was sentenced on Monday by Judge Patricia Cosgrove and was also ordered to register as a sexual offender for 25 years. Fine was put on trial on September 19th when he pleaded guilty to 5 counts of kidnapping with sexual motivation and 1 count of attempted kidnapping. According to court records, Fine lost his license in November 2014 after the Lorain County Bar Association filed a motion with the Ohio Supreme Court saying Fine utilized hypnotic therapy to facilitate the impairment of and sexual exploitation of his clients.
This morning, an Ohio lawyer turned defendant.
There's just remorse and grief in my heart.
59-year-old divorce attorney Michael Fine sentenced to 12 years in prison for hypnotizing 6 female clients without their consent or knowledge and then molesting them.
He used my trust in his position as my attorney to gain information about my vulnerabilities.
According to legal documents, in 2013, one of Fine's clients noticed that after their appointments, her bra was disheveled and that she could not recall the entire duration of these meetings, something that happened again and again. Suspicious, she began tape recording her conversations. Learning shocking details about their meetings, she says she didn't remember. That Fine began to use code words to get her into a trance-like state and then engaged in a sexually charged discussion, saying things like, at the count of 3, you won't be able to control yourself.
He would say that he had some relaxation techniques, that the best thing they can do is to try to relax in order to help themselves.
The first victim took the recordings to police, who had her wear a wire and video recorder. When Fine began the same behavior at the next meeting, they nabbed him. While hypnosis is a powerful therapeutic technique, there's no consensus on exactly what's possible against someone's will.
Can we make someone take their clothes off in a public place through hypnosis? The short answer is no. However, we could possibly convince them that the temperature is so hot that they might want to disrobe.
Now, Fine has pleaded guilty to 5 counts of kidnapping and 1 count of attempted kidnapping, all with a sexual motivation specification. In a statement from his attorney saying he accepted responsibility for what he did wrong.
Now, Fine has also been permanently disbarred. He will have to register as a sex offender for the next 25 years, and he's facing civil lawsuits from the women. Now, there are so many unanswered questions about hypnosis, and it's particularly hard to study what you can make people do against their will because the studies themselves may be unethical. George?
Well, that makes sense. Okay, Maura, thanks very much. Let's try to answer some of the questions with our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. What a creepy case.
Wow. I mean, really unbelievable. All right, first of all, you've got these women. You've got to feel incredibly sorry for these women. These women are going to a divorce attorney. This is at the lowest point in their lives. They're in the middle of a fight or about to have an enormous...
Custody.
Exactly. Custody, the most important issues. And this guy is taking advantage of that, which is in and of itself a problem. It's also terrible for lawyers, by the way, because this is supposed to be the most trusted relationship is between an attorney and a client. But if this case had gone to trial, it would have put hypnosis on trial.
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. Let's assume for a second it had gone to trial. You would have had experts on both sides, some saying, yeah, this is real, this does work, others saying, no way.
Well, I think the defense would have had to have been, you can't force someone to do something against their will. And yet increasingly hypnosis is being taken very seriously by the scientific community. And you even heard in that soundbite in the piece there, it does sound like you can get people to do something.
Well, you can change their will.
Yes, you can change their will. And as a result, it would have been fascinating to hear this fight over hypnosis. But now that he's pled guilty, that's not going to happen, now facing 12 years behind bars.
Very good police work here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The fact that they were able to, that she has the wherewithal to take this to the police, they then put this undercover video on her, and then they have the evidence where I think this is what forced him to plead.
Marcus Freeman, Wesley McKinley, and Brittany Palumbo are teenage students who died in a series of tragedies that ripped the Northport, Florida community apart. All three died within weeks of each other after being hypnotized by George Kenny, the school's disgraced former principal and self-appointed mind healer. Damian Mallard, the attorney who represented the families of the three victims, said he altered the underdeveloped brains of teenagers and they all ended up dead because of it.
Them out and get them help.
Sickening allegations made by attorney Michael Pisanchin, filing a motion to get his clients out of the Butler County Prison, where he claims they were sexually assaulted by a prison employee.
I have a feeling that they're going to have problems long-term into the future as a result of being assaulted in a place where they were helpless, vulnerable, and had to do with what this perpetrator told them to do.
Pisanchin says two of his clients were serving time after pleading guilty to crimes like burglary and drug possession.
These are young men. They were with low-level crimes, and it's just it is disheartening to see.
Pisanchin claims the male employee has since been escorted from the prison and was terminated, but his clients are still locked up. In the motions filed, he says, quote, incidents occurred over a period of time, and despite being investigated for a length of time, the petitioners have not been allowed to contact a lawyer, have been required to be kept in the very prison where they were assaulted. In one case, Pisanchin says his client could have served his sentence out of prison, but relatives requested he be held there to help him fight an addiction. Now, Pisanchin says both clients are in need of serious help.
Because what they can do by coming forward is make sure that they prevent this from occurring to anyone else.
Now, the identity of the prison worker accused in this case is not being released at this time, and we're still working to learn whether charges could be filed. Pisanchin says his goal is to first get his clients out of the prison, get them help, and then proceed with this case from there.